Hi there, Megan Jansen here, Employee Wellness Solutions Network. Today, I wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about the importance of a wellness team to support the wellness program at the organization. And when all the onus is on one or two people to try to organize everything at all the different sites and all the different branches, it can be a bit overwhelming and daunting, to say the least. So I wanted to talk about some main tips when it comes to building a wellness team to have the most success. And it really does help share that load of communications and messaging and support within an organized plan. So just a couple of things before we jump into a couple of main tips. One is, who are we going to be wanting to recruit for a wellness team? And you'll see here several different adjectives that are of importance. People who are ambassadors, people who support one another, people who want to contribute to the overall culture of the organization. You have supporters, you have leaders, you have those who are excited to be part of the mission of bringing in a wellness strategy. Another angle of this is how diverse and inclusive your wellness team needs to be. We often see everything happening at head office, where we have maybe a wellness team at head office. But then if there are satellite offices or branches that don't have support and are included, they can feel excluded. So making sure, recognizing how many different locations your organization consists of, and if it's really only one location, how many floors, how many departments. Ideally, a wellness team needs to have a cross-section of the organization. Everyone from leaders, hopefully, right down to frontline employees at all different levels of the organization. That's really the best way to ensure that a wellness team is the best well-rounded and inclusive. The other element of the people behind the wellness team is we don't always want the healthiest people in the room. And this might sound a little bit, opposite of what we might think. But we're more interested in how respectful and respected the individuals are within the organization. So it's not necessarily they have to be and do all the healthy things, but those are the individuals who are well-liked, who are leaders, and who are enthusiastic about the direction of the organization. They might not do everything right, but really the point is having the best team available to help you succeed with your wellness program. So those are just a couple of high-level bits of information. Now, another element of suggestion is, how do you want to set up your wellness team? So there are a couple of different ways. One is through a wellness almost steering committee, where you have a smaller group of people making the decisions, and you set up almost a wellness ambassador network, where you have representatives from the different branches, the different satellite offices, the different elements or different departments within your organization, depending on how spread out you are. That is one model. So you have a steering committee that makes the decisions, 2 or 3 or 4 people, and then you have an ambassador network. Those ambassadors are people who are excited, they're leaders, they're supportive of the direction of the organization and the wellness committee, the wellness program. And they're very keen on, getting the team set up and getting the word out of what's happening within the wellness program. Excellent way of doing it. Another angle of this is through the development of a wellness team or wellness committee that does essentially everything. So they might make decisions. They are also involved with rallying the troops, so to speak, and getting people involved with the challenges and whatnot. So there's one of 2 different ways you might want to consider setting up your wellness team. In terms of a couple of other points, one of the other elements here, the second tip, if you will, is looking at the recruiting of new people. And how do we do that? So the best way to roll out the invitation for people to participate within your wellness team are at different time points during the calendar year that are might be specific to more of a wellness initiative. Let me give you an example. October in Canada happens to be Healthy Workplace Month. So October, because there's a reason to do something at the workplace, it's an excellent time to recruit a team. Another opportunity would be January, February. That's when people are most keen to get some work done within a wellness program. And then the third opportunity would be sometime in the spring. And so May is typically where we focus on mental health, mental wellness within our workplaces through that mental health week in Canada. That's another great example of when. Wouldn't suggest doing it over busy times in your business cycle, nor would I suggest doing it, as part of just an email blast and hoping people will respond. The best way is through an all staff or an opportunity where you can get in front of as many people as possible, highlighting what the purpose is of your wellness program, what are some of the objectives, and how you could really use people's support and help with that mission. Having consistent meetings will be important. Ideally, it's not just doing it once and forgetting about it. There is need to be consistent with meetings every other month. Sometimes groups like to go once a month for a little while until they get the ball rolling, and then you can sort of maybe make it a little bit less frequent. But every other month would be by far what would be recommended going forward. Always have an agenda, always have minutes, and always start with positive roundtable. I always love to ask, so what are some of the things we're seeing that is, showcasing what we're doing as a wellness team? What are you noticing? Are people talking about it? Are they walking around without, that water bottle more? Are they getting outside for walks? Are they stretching at their desks? What are we seeing? What are those visible elements that we're seeing within the wellness program? That really does stir motivation within your wellness team. I like to think of a wellness team or a wellness steering committee and ambassador network, however way you set it up, as really looking at a forum, bringing feedback back to the team and discussing how other, future programs may be run differently or improved upon, etc. Another element of wellness programming is sometimes it's needed to have almost a terms of reference for a wellness committee. I have seen it really more often than not, no terms of reference. Sometimes people like to follow suit with other committees and teams, whatnot within the organization, whatever's going to work for you. But just keep that in mind. Recruiting, ensuring that you have a cross section of an organization and having enough people. So the last tip is really talking about what size of a wellness team you want within our programming. I like to use the rule of thumb, under 100 lives, which most workplaces are, I shouldn't say most, a lot of workplaces are, under 100 lives, about 10% of the organization. So 10-ish people would be ideal. If you were less than 50, that might still apply with about 5 people or so. That is also very valuable. If you find that you want to bring in a few more, almost like a buddy system where you have somebody attending, but somebody else is really keen on participating as well, they can buddy back and forth. That's another way of doing it. If you didn't want to say no to anybody. But that is just gives you an example. If you only have 10 or 12 employees, maybe you want 2 or 3, and that will be sufficient. Too many cooks in the kitchen isn't always better. And so we kind of know that, I think, with other things. But you do want to also have the right people involved to help you with your mission of a healthy workplace and striving for that. Hopefully, this was helpful to learn a little bit more about the successes of building and maintaining a wellness team, a wellness committee, or a wellness ambassador network. Hope that was helpful.